that person does not know what you might know.
That's true.
And that's the thing that I was speaking about earlier, that the greatest fool, who at least knows he's a fool, will be wiser than those who think that they've reached the end of their knowledge. You must spread that and continue to grow, because even if they don't know, what you've done is plant the seed for them to begin to grow that knowledge in themselves. Because even if their ego might be very defensive, and it will happen, it will happen.
That's true.
It will happen. But what you must understand is that you, as the spirit, are speaking from a place that is the exhibitor, that is the origin of the ego personality. So when you recognize that, you must stand firm in the truth.
Right, in what you know.
In what you know. Because what ends up happening is that you start to diminish your spirit the moment you think that you have to fit in.
Right. Welcome to Firmly Rooted, where discussions are rooted in truth, wellness, and community. Today, we are blessed with both drummer and producer Caleb, aka Cbro Brookman, as he reflects on the release of his new album, Heaven's Dance, and shares the spiritual foundation of his life.
Hey, how are you? I'm doing good, yes. I'm so glad to see you.
Yes, it's really good to see you.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. I've been really just taking it day by day, really focusing more on aligning myself spiritually, mentally, and then physically. So just kind of just rebalancing. Yeah, in that order, rebalancing, making sure that I take care of myself really well. So, yeah. How are you?
Good. I'm really doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
becoming what I, want to see around, the change I want to be. So
Yes.
I really have to take it step by step in that order. And it's a process.
I know, but you
it's
got
beautiful.
it.
It's beautiful.
Exactly, and
yes.
you got it, and you got people around you who are always willing to help you and always willing to help grow and enrich your life too. So.
Yeah, and I realize that more and more.
Yeah,
Even you being here right now.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk about my album.
Thank you for coming.
Of
seriously.
course.
And quickly too.
Oh, I answer quickly when it comes to these things. Yes, priority, absolutely.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Your album.
Yes. Well, I guess I should start off by introducing. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. My name is Caleb Brookman, but my producer name is and drummer name is Cbro, Cbro. Just a first initial, my first name, and then a shortened last name, Bro, Brookman. But I am a Chicagoan, born and raised in Chicago. Shout out Uptown. And then I moved to Jefferson Park. Shout out Jefferson Park. So two neighborhoods. I've been. You said what?
That's real.
Oh yeah, real. Yeah. I got to. I gotta respect. I've been drumming and producing simultaneously for 8 years, and I recently started picking up more modeling and more directing. Shout out my brother Jeremiah Paprocki for Late Nights in Chicago, co-CEO. That's been an amazing ride as well. So I really started to, 2024 has really started to really branch me into many different areas of my life that I really love exploring outside of music. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
That's dope.
Oh, thank you.
He's really dope.
She's being kind. She's very kind.
So for real.
Yes.
Okay, now your album.
Yes. Heaven's Dance. I can elaborate a little. It just was released last week, and June 22nd. And around prior to the release, there was so many different things. I think I worked on it too much. I actually grew ear fatigue. That's what we call it. And I was very tired of listening to it. And there was a time where I just left it alone because I thought I was overworking it. But after the release, the amount of feedback I got was, woo.
Did you see it coming?
I didn't see it coming, to tell you the truth. Even when I was making the promo for it on my Instagram, you guys can go check it out via my Instagram. Released the very day of. I was really struggling with just releasing that, because it was like a moment for me where I felt like, do I really feel like this is good? You know?
Wow.
Yeah, seriously.
And that's crazy, because to see and hear how great it is, it's like, what is that within us that makes us like hold back? That thing we were talking about.
That's
like,
a great question.
It's like, because it's there and you can hear it, but it's like that doubt.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's I know it's what we all call kind of like our shadow, where we like over critique ourselves and kind of over judge our creativity, and don't allow the listener to actually first be a listener and be able to provide that feedback for you, because oftentimes we can overthink ourselves into destruction and end up messing up something that was actually great, you know, for you and for the people. And so even despite all of those like self-created destructive thoughts, I still released it.
And you should be so proud.
Oh, thank you.
We're all like basking in it, like enjoying it.
Thank you guys.
It woke me up.
What was your song?
Jellyfish.
I
was so happy. I'm like, I gotta get to it. Like whatever I'm about to do, like it has to be in the background.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and thank all of you guys for the continuous support of Heaven's Dance. I've been meaning to make a post about it, but I feel like it's still too early. I have to let it glisten a bit more.
Hey.
But yes.
Do what you gotta do. But
thank you.
You do have to do that.
Yes.
And a release party.
Oh man. I was thinking about, okay guys, newsflash. So I was thinking about a release party way prior. But as I just spoke about, man, life it was throwing Mike Tyson type punches. And I was just like, man, like financially it wasn't gonna work. Mentally, I didn't feel like I was even in the right place to like really throw a release party, because my whole like vibration around it wasn't, I knew it wasn't where it needed to be. So I was like, nah, throwing a release party might be a little detrimental right now. I should actually still release, but I should release it in a way where it still allows me the ability to reflect on what is happening in my life, you know, and not project that out onto other people who have nothing to do with that, you know. No, nothing personal against the people who, you know, love me and like actually support me, but it was something more personal that I knew I had to work on, because I didn't want to like release that out into the world. So
no, I think that's the wisdom in processing things. Like we can have that shadow, and then there's also this wise way of moving in the midst of dealing with what you're dealing with, you know, like, and that's real.
Absolutely.
And you needed to take that time, you know.
I did.
There's a time for everything.
You're absolutely right.
Even the way you released it, I think that's still perfect.
It was still perfect.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, it was funny because I thought initially that maybe I wasn't promoting it enough, but see how all these thoughts are just like, they just sit, you know?
Because in this, it's like you have the opportunity to witness the support you have. Like, even in you just putting a little whiff of it, you know? You have the support system that's going to be like, oh my God, y'all, he's doing it, he's dropping it, like, you know?
You're right.
Because you didn't have that capacity, like, it's okay. And then even in the process of you, like, being like, oh, you know, like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and you're like, yeah, man, like, you could have. Like, it's just seeing what you actually are capable of, you know? Like, it's just, I don't know.
Thank you so much.
It's all a process. Everything works together. So.
You're right. And creativity is, man, it is subjective, and it is, there was a quote from a wise man that said, creativity goes against the dogmatic way of the world, where it's like you have to express and differentiate art from, I guess, society in a way, because that's what makes art. And I thought about that, and I've realized that there's freedom in knowing that it's not supposed to be essentially what people are expecting. It's supposed to be you. What are you bringing? You know, that's
so
our
true.
art is you, and sometimes it's not the way of the norm, and that's what essentially transforms and influences the next wave of new music, because it's different, you know. So
touches people.
Yes.
Like truth.
Yes.
Like seriously.
Yes, and staying true to yourself.
Yes.
Always, always.
Literally.
Yes.
If you don't do that, what are you doing? Like, you know? And even learning through that, like not being true to yourself, learning you can be true to yourself, like it's just all a process.
It is a process, and it starts when you recognize your childhood traumas and start to actually work through them versus just being a outward person that really doesn't have inward reflections. You know, as you move forward with your life. So yeah, it started there for me. I know like it starts in different venues for others, but that's where it started for me, looking back at my childhood and recognizing what made me feel free, what made the spirit that I am actually express itself outward infinitely, you know, versus feeling like I have to be in a box and follow all these different things that kind of restrict that creativity for myself. So
I think that's required.
Yes. Yeah. And now here we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's still so much more to learn about thyself, you know? Like,
exactly. And that's one, that was, I guess to bring it all back, that was literally one of the major like focal points of Heaven's Dance is to release the things that not only have influenced me, but actually begun to like build this, I guess, Caleb that I know the spirit sees, but I have to first be that, you know. So so Heaven's Dance, this is just the beginning, you know. This is just the beginning, guys. I promise. There's so much more to come.
Yay.
I promise. This is a promise. I promise.
Okay, man, you gotta follow through.
I'm gonna follow
we
through.
know you are.
I will follow through, absolutely. And
wait.
there's more to come. There's so many different improvements that I've seen from having the first release of an album and now knowing what the next steps are, releasing my next album, which is coming very soon this year. You will hear more news. Yes, more music is coming, guys. And
Yeah. I think, do you think that'll be like just a continuous thing? Like you just constantly dropping music, like, I don't want to say for the rest of your life, but actually like, you know, it's just a part of your being. Like, do you think?
Yes, I actually do. There will, I think this year especially, there's going to be, I even have an EP coming this summer still. Sorry guys, a lot of music is coming your way, and the reason to this, I guess background story, the reason to this is because the past 2 years I was creating, but I didn't release none of it.
Anything?
I didn't release any of it.
Yeah. You owe it to yourself.
I do owe it to myself to actually release all of these things that I have been working on with various people. And so you're going to see a lot more coming. An EP is coming this summer. It's not going to be like the biggest hype around it, but
that's exciting.
Yes.
Like, seriously. I'm happy for you.
Thank you so much.
You should be very proud.
Thank you so much.
Like,
thank you.
Even me, just, I've been trying to break free from, like, not finishing things. Like, you know, like starting something and not finishing it, and then there's just so many things, and then that can be overwhelming, you know? But like, I know I owe it to myself to see that, you know, come to fruition and like just bask in what I've created, you know? Because it's beautiful.
It is.
And to see you in that process now where you're letting it like just
letting
rip,
it go.
it's like,
thank you.
Like, that's inspiring.
Thank you so much.
That's
I really
beautiful.
appreciate that. Thank you. I like you said, I really do owe it to myself, and I owe it to the people that support me to actually release music. I'm sorry, guys.
Why are you sorry?
Because it was funny because there was one post that I did earlier this year where it was like I was finally throwing back music out there, and one of my friends had commented, "He's finally back."
Oh, okay.
So yeah, because all last year was a different journey.
Yeah.
Everything has its time and place, and last year was definitely a far different journey, but it's brought me to this point to where I now realize it is time. And Cbro is back for good.
Oh, wow.
So, yes. But no, to your question, I will be releasing music, and I think even over time, the improvements that I'll see, like looking back, it's gonna be so amazing. Because I look back now at what I previously used to create, and I know, like, man, I have to keep going.
Yeah.
You know?
Even the person you were then. Like,
yes, exactly.
What you were able to give, it keeps evolving. Like,
everything is evolving constantly, and it's actually godlike to see. It's really, it's really a spiritual thing to see. Like, wow.
His mark.
Exactly. I'm constantly like being evolved past my points, and it's like, imagine where I'll be at 30. I can't, because it's like I don't want to even limit it. The scale is, I'm not going to scale it. It's unlimited.
And God can do so much in such a quick time. Like, it's crazy because when you're in it, when you're in the transformation, like, it's like you don't know how long it's going to take. It feels like forever. The suffering is just crazy.
Like, hurry up.
And then all of a sudden you're in it, and it's like, whoa, how did I get here? Like, it's here, it's happening.
It's
and
happening.
You're just full of joy, you know, like.
Yes.
But yeah, you can't even fathom what 30 will be
fathom.
like.
So I try, and that's where your freedom is, trying not to conceptually think about where it could be, rather than just letting it be. That's the freedom that you have. Just letting the Spirit lead you. That's the freedom we all have. Rather than trying to think, oh man, I have to be here or meet a certain expectation. Don't put it over yourself. Just be yourself. Yeah, you'll end up making yourself far worse. You know, that is detrimental. So.
And that learning experience is crazy. It's a hard one. Then we have to let go. It sucks, but it's you realize why.
Exactly. And I think the art of letting go is the most beautiful thing of life.
It is.
Like,
it's scary.
It's scary. Oh yeah.
There's so much unknown
Don't get me wrong.
within that. Yeah.
It's so scary at first, but dwelling in the unknown is the most beautiful thing ever. Like, for me. Like,
for me too.
Yes.
I think for all of us, once you really come to understand that and what that is, it's like, like it's not even a matter of I should have been here. It's just like, okay, let's just keep going.
Let's keep going. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But did you have any? Because I know you were a listener of Heaven's Dance.
Oh, so. What? Do you want to know my favorite?
I would love to hear your favorite.
Okay, Jellyfish.
Ooh.
Because I told you this morning, like
it boosted you. It was like, whoa, we're in it.
Divinity. I honestly all of them. But I think it's Native Traditions. That one gets me moving.
Yes.
Like it never fails.
Yes.
You just, oh my God.
Yes.
And I told you I was listening to it with my mom. Like, first of all, she just couldn't help but move. She over here trying to freestyle too. I'm like,
Mama, I love you. I love you, Mama. Thank you so much.
I was like, I knew it was gonna happen because I know my mom and like she knows good music.
Yes.
But like she knew, like she had to say like, who is this? And I was like, it's my friend, and I'm going to interview him. That's why I told you I was talking to her about it.
Oh my
like,
God.
Yeah.
I love y'all, seriously.
She likes all of them. I should have asked her favorite.
Her favorite.
But yeah, I think Native Traditions got us going. Like.
Wow. I'm really proud about that one actually. If I can elaborate, Native Traditions, how it came about. All of everything in the, you know how we all like producers, we sample from other songs and stuff. All of the instrumentation was created by me. Like, so that's a full ensemble, just Cbro
so
ensemble.
To know that and hear
thank
it.
you. Thank
you went crazy.
I think hearing it's the actual pattern that's in it. It's very, very tribal, like very, very close to home, and that's why I named it Native Traditions. And it was one of those ones where it's just the whole album itself is it's dancing. Like it's move your body, move your feet.
Makes sense.
And it's Heaven's Dance. It's a positive thing that comes forth. Yes. Oh, thank you so much. And Native Traditions was one of those ones where I was in my bedroom. Like, yes. Oh, yeah.
As you should be.
Just a disclaimer. I think we all do this where it's like we all listen to our tracks constantly to make sure we know, like, okay, this is good. But it was like one of those ones where I was like moving in like a very native way, and I was like, yes, this fits. This is home. That. This is home. So I would love to see that at an Afro club.
ASAP.
Seriously. Like, I think that's a great transitional song that just moves people. It's gonna move your body no matter what. So
seriously.
That was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, Native Traditions.
Did I ask you your favorite already?
No, you didn't actually.
Okay. What's your favorite?
My favorite Well, Native Traditions is one of the favorite, but it's not the
Right.
most favorite.
Okay.
My most favorite is actually Wagadu.
Really?
Wagadu.
Okay, can you
Yes,
elaborate?
I can
on
elaborate
why?
that. Wagadu, the reason for it is Wagadu is actually an ancient. It's actually the ancient name of my homeland, Ghana, and it's based. It's pretty much the name is pretty much based on the kingdom of Ghana before it was called Ghana, and the traditions that we carried from our ancestors, even all the way from Egypt down, going into Mali, into Nigeria, into Sudan, into Mozambique. So
Well, I love how much intention is put in the name, and I know it's gonna be in the music too. Like,
oh yeah, I actually have to put. I think that's another one of my posts that I have to make regarding the album itself. I have to inform people of like why I chose certain names.
Yeah.
Wagadu being one of the key ones, so that like we actually start to look into our history about who we are as a people and why we do the things that we do and why our culture is so diverse and yet so similar throughout the entire diaspora. So Wagadu was one of my favorite ones, and it's also the instrumentation is also just it's upbeat reggae, and it's just like you're dancing,
it
you're
is
jumping.
fire, all of them.
Oh, appreciate it,
All of
appreciate
them.
it.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm like, I don't know. Let me just think of the first ones. 'Cause they're all fire.
They're all fire. I appreciate that.
And then I have much more of an appreciation for it too, just knowing the history and that you're incorporating in the music.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's great.
And another one was Love and Joy.
Yeah, I love that too. I feel
More
love
love,
and joy.
more joy, more love,
Hey.
more joy. I love you
Yeah.
so much. And that's it. Like that's the meaning, love and joy. And it's like imagine that being. That's how I imagined it. Like there was one. I did a snippet. It's on my Instagram, guys, where like I was with my family friends' sons. Their names is Ezra and Aaron. And we were in the car and we were jamming Love and Joy.
Oh, I think I saw that.
And it brought me back. I mean, just thinking about that right now brought me back to a realization that that's how you spread the paradigm shift in the next generation. By allowing them to have lyrics that are catchy, but also very positive
Yes.
images and very influential, positive, influential words over their life as they
Yes.
grow. So like when they're going around school, more love, more joy.
Those
God is
words
love.
Powerful. Yeah.
God is love. God is joy. Like God is peace. God is serenity. These are
Yes.
the things that we should be spreading. So I recognize that in a world full of negativity, you do the opposite in your art and spread positivity. So more love, more joy. It's like just singing those two words as you move through your day. It's like you're bringing it. You're a magnet of those things. So you're bringing that to yourself.
Can I have your hand? Thank you.
Oh.
Truly.
Blessings.
That's needed.
Blessings, yes.
That's needed. This world is filled with the gross darkness.
Yes.
That's needed.
And that's where we, as the light, come in. You know, and I
Yes.
feel like Love and Joy was one of those ones. And it's a lot of people's favorites, not to my surprise, though, because it's
Oh,
like, even me, I was like, hey,
And
yo.
it exudes
Like,
that, yeah.
yeah.
Like, feel it.
I was like, hey, yo, this is like, this is
Yeah.
it right here. So, yes, Love and Joy is another one of my, like, really, really all-time favorites. Because it's like, man, like, imagine elementary school kids in the gym, in the auditorium, like at a dance, and Love and
Right.
Joy comes
that
on.
music should be played.
You know, and it's
Yes.
just, everybody's just spreading love and joy to each other.
And happiness.
Unconsciously,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
realizing like, oh snap, like singing those things actually exudes
Yeah.
what we want. So
Yes.
it's like,
It's a spark.
yeah, it's a spark, you know, and I just aspire to be that positive spark. I'm not trying to say I alone can save the world, but if I'm able to at least influence positive thoughts, godly thoughts into the way of the next generation, because it's not for me.
Yeah.
When I release this music, guys, it is not for me. It is no longer for me. It is for those who are coming after me. And I look to my nieces, Gianna and Faith, when I say these things, that it's not for me. It's for those who are coming up behind me and are supposed to and are going to be better than me. I don't want anybody growing up to be like their uncle or like their auntie. I want them or like their mom and dad. I want them to grow up and be better, because that's how we change our generations. We have to be better. and keep growing. So I love you guys. More love, more joy. Yeah. Yes. Forever and ever. Yes.
Yes, that's so beautiful. I love how you mention your family too.
Oh yes.
I love that they're a part of your motivation and what keeps you going. Like I'm really inspired. Seriously.
Thank you.
As I get closer to my family, like I want to be able to continue to say things like that.
Yeah.
Like that's beautiful.
Yeah, family is everything to me. Actually,
Yeah.
I realize it's a foundational reason to my joy. You got to be rooted you got to be rooted at home.
Yes.
Like,
on foundation.
yes.
A word that I think of, or that's a word I think of when I was looking at the album cover, the Ankh on 4 corners.
Whoa, let's
4
get into
is a number
it.
for foundation, and I was just like, I mean, it seems like you build on that foundation, So I wanted to know a little bit about
The cover
your faith
art.
and
Yes. Let's start in the beginning then. Well, I grew up, my family and we grew up Christian. My dad's a pastor. And so I was raised firmly rooted, firmly rooted in Christianity from my beginning stages. And over time, I felt like there was some personal conflicts that I was enduring with Christianity. And I found myself kind of questioning what exactly it is I'm doing, or what it is, like faith-wise, that I am doing. And I started to look beyond what I had grown up with, and I started to look into the history of what Christianity was, but not just Christianity, Muslim, Jewish, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism. And I started to look deeper into the philosophies that surround religion. And I ended up becoming far more spiritual. I know we all kind of say that, like, oh, but what is that exactly? And it's like, it's actually a tradition that was created by our ancestors before religion ever had existed. So it was more of a spiritual freedom and a spiritual recognition of self and your connection to the divine. And I ended up coming across the most ancient founded spirituality of all time, called the Shitalti Nata. And that's an ancient Kemet religion. I know we call it, Kemet is modern day Egypt, but that's essentially the name before Egypt. It was called Kemet. And I found myself studying under great teachers like Wanta Ashby, Dr. John Henry Clark, Professor Kaba Kamene, Professor James Smalls, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on.
That's impressive.
I found myself coming to a sort of really firm conclusion about how all things came to be in modern times, and how the traditions and cultures that have been passed down from the ancient tribes into the Yoruba tribe, the Igbo tribes, the Ashanti tribes, the Ga tribes, and so on and so forth, in terms of all the traditions that surround the diaspora. And I found myself firmly rooted, once again, in knowing that the ancestors left behind all the answers for us. All we have to do is know where to seek it and know where to find it, versus trying to look into society, and because we know society has twisted a lot of truths, and that's not even a controversial statement. This is just a fact now.
It is.
And I found myself being more accustomed to doing what the ancestors did, which is being more attuned to nature. I feel like if we really want to get back in touch with our roots, we have to remember that we are also nature itself, and that nature isn't separate from us, and that's what was taught in our ancient spiritual traditions. And also learning how to meditate, learning how to, instead of always making noise, making vibration, sometimes being silent and allowing things around you to actually speak, because that's how you develop your spiritual sensitivity. It's not when you're making the most noise, it's actually when you're based and you're firmly rooted in silence and breathing, taking deep breaths. And so there's a lot more to it. I know I'm really summarizing a lot of it, but that's really where my faith is founded, in the Kemetic way of living, the more spiritual way of living, the what we call Ma'at, and also Jehuti, which is which is a representation of intellect, ma'at, being a representation of order in your life, and knowing how to balance that within yourself. It's both masculine and feminine principles that not just live within nature, but everything that ever was and is and ever will be. So
yes.
I'm trying to keep it calm. But yes, that's essentially where my foundation and why the 4 unks around my cover art come in. Because if you notice, you'll see in the sun, it's a bit orange. You'll see on the right side, top side, it's a bit more grayish, more windy. On the further down right side, you have the watery like, and then on the far bottom left side, you have the green, which represents fire, wind, water, and then earth, which is not just the foundation of earth itself in terms of the elements that exist, but also what lives within us as well. So that is my foundation. My foundation is the foundation of the universe, because the universe and the divine are interconnected and there's no separation. It's all happening in one accordance. And when you move in that way, when you move in balance according to not just nature, but according to the signs of nature, that which exists in the heavens and that which exists below as well, you start to recognize and you start to develop a spiritual growth in terms of consciousness towards who you actually are.
Yes. You're so beautiful, Caleb. Seriously.
Thank you.
So we left off with you talking about the cover art, the 4 unks and the corners.
Yes, so it's essentially the 4 unks and the corners with different colors just represent fire, wind, water, and then earth. And it's kind of like the foundation thing we speak about in terms of how the earth is, formed in itself. It's like the 4 elements that are actually, creating the earth itself. But it's not just the earth externally, it's the earth internally too. It's the fire, it's the passion in you, it's the water, it's the compassion about yourself, it's the wind, it's the ability to let go of things and allow things to flow forth from you, and it's the earth, it's the grounding of yourself. So it's not just the elements that are external of you, it's the balance that's within you as well. Yes, the balance that exists within you as well, and being able to understand how to actually balance yourself according to your uniqueness of nature and how nature is defined by you, essentially. So, and then you had around my face the gods and goddesses of, ancient Kemet. But the more key finding to this is being able to understand that what I am expressing through that is the innate emotions that actually exist within you. And that's essentially what the principles are all about in terms of the gods and goddesses of, I'm about to burp. In terms of the gods and goddesses of ancient Egypt, it wasn't actually a foretelling of gods that exist outside, but more so emotions and feelings that you have to master from within yourself in order for this being that we all seek can be brought forth from you and be an exemplary example of it. So that's the key, and it's all rooted from within the mind. Hence why I put it by my head. You know what I'm saying? So because it's all of those things are coming from within, and whatever you're internally thinking about is what externally becomes. So there's the symbology by my face, and then right above me is 2 clouds, and in them you have to look very carefully. You have 2 eyes over it.
I love this.
Yes,
it's like clues all in there.
It's all there, and it's all pertaining to not just me, but every human being, because every single human being has all of the qualities and the codes that I've inputted into the album. So it's...
And seek and you will find.
Seek and you shall find it. You shall find it.
Yes.
I promise. It's not hard to find. But
that's true.
The 2 eyes represent the observer.
Okay.
And that means the soul. So essentially we have 3 different, depths to our being. One is the action, the one who's doing it, the ego. And then you have the one that's the thought maker, the one that's right here, and then you have the one that's in the inhibitor of both thought making and action doing, and that's our soul, our spirit, our passion, that which comes from the infiniteness. So the seer, which is also yourself, is the one not only planning the action, but being an internal witness to the actions that you do. So it's recognizing that our principles stand upon higher ground, that which emanates from our eternity of ourselves, which is our spirit. So you have those clouds sitting above because
I love that.
Yes.
Our principles stand on higher ground.
Yes, our principles come from higher ground, and if you recognize that that higher ground is also yourself, then the freedom of God becomes, and the love just starts to encompass into you because you recognize your origin.
Yeah.
And
that
we all
is
come
the
from.
foundation to build upon.
Exactly.
Yes.
You get it. You get it. You got it. We got it, y'all. We did it.
We solved it.
We solved the mysteries. But yeah, so essentially that's what Heaven's Dance is, and that's why my face is big in that thing.
I love it.
It is big in the cover art, but the reason behind that is because the heavens, even in, if we talk about biblically, Luke 17:21, it talks about where that kingdom of God is. So essentially, if you recognize that when you look in the mirror, you recognize who is the what's the word I'm looking for? The creator of the heavens, if not what's within you. You know, so essentially that's what Heaven's Dance is all about.
Yeah.
And that's why my face is plastered there, and that's why you see the garden, because it's what I'm emitting from myself. And if I don't see heaven in myself, heaven can't be known to me, God can't be known to me. So it's what's within you first that you have to recognize. And once you recognize that within yourself, then you recognize, oh snap, like it says in Deuteronomy 5:7, God is everywhere and in all things. Then you start to recognize it's not just what's within me, it's what's within this person, it's what's within nature, it's what's within even cars, it's the whole universe. So we're all moving in one accord. But first you have to recognize that it begins there. So when you look in the mirror and you don't see that, it can't begin. The journey back can't begin. It can't start.
Wow.
So.
That's really an answer. I know that'll be an answer for a lot of people. Yeah.
It's there. You know, I don't have to, it's not like I'm lying. It's not what I've said, it's what Christ said. What Christ said about where it is. So the foundation first has to start with you. Yeah. Hence why I came out with Heaven's Dance, because it does start, the heavens start within me. And I have to recognize that and be able to give that back into the people for them to then recognize it in themselves. Which is why I have songs like More Love, More Joy, songs like Come On, Do It Today, Be in the Present Moment, doing that today. Wow. So that's really beautiful. The codes are all there, but it takes, I'm glad I'm explaining it, but I want people to be able to realize that, man, this is bigger than Caleb Brookman. Yes. We're talking about something of unity, something of spirit, where we all come from. Everything comes from spirit. So being an enhancer of that, and being a protester of that, and being a exemplary example of that, being the person that can stand forward and lead and be able to say these things, say the truth without feeling as if you need to hide. Yeah. Being able to step forth into your Christ self. So
you are spitting. I'm taking this in. I needed that.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm just glad to be here, for you giving me the opportunity to be able to express this, to not only just for myself too, but also for everyone who's been listening. Thank you guys so much as well.
Yeah, seriously.
And
thank you.
it's an honor to be able to talk about it with someone who also is firmly rooted in themselves.
Oh, thank you.
Shout out Keely, y'all. She's dope. Dope. So
Thank
yes. It was a very, very long answer. I know
Look, it was a perfect answer. Well,
yes, ma'am.
Well deserved, needed, all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But yes, that's where it all comes from, and that's where it all started. Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes. Take this in. Just take this moment in. You're speaking about something you've become.
Whoa.
That's beautiful.
Whoa. Hats, fives to that.
Take that in.
Wow, you're right. I really should. I should breathe. It's been a long road, and there's still a lot more to go. You know, it's It's funny, there's a quote that keeps ringing in my head, and it's like, even the greatest fool that knows he's a fool is wiser than one who thinks that they know it all.
Yeah.
You know, because as long as somebody knows that there's more room to grow, they're far wiser than the person who thinks that there isn't.
And that's crazy.
You know?
Like, that's so true. But it takes so much understanding to know that's true. Like,
yes, and it takes a subduing of your ego to recognize, wow, even if I do know more than that person, I'm still a fool if I think that that's all that there is knowing more than others, and rather than sharing that knowledge.
And you know what's so interesting on my journey? Like, there was a process where I gained more of an understanding I had before, and I thought that I just knew, you know, like, I figured it out, you know, like, I'm here in this place I never was before. Like, all right, just keep going, just to continuously be humbled, you know, just continuously learning I don't know. Like, saying you don't know is the best thing ever, because your cup is always empty, you know. Like, you can always just receive more. And that was crazy, because I was a fool who didn't know I was a fool, just to learn I was a fool, and then realize, like, you're still foolish, you still have to learn, you know. Like, and I'm still learning, you know.
I understand, and it's another great thing to recognize, like, that you'll always be a master and a student at the same time.
Always a student. Always a master,
Yeah, because even as you grow, you're growing into that foundation and you're doing those things, but you're still a student because you recognize that even in those things that there's still variations that have to come.
And I mastered a level before that I just came out of, which is why I can't go back to that old way. But there's still so much more to let go of, so much more to become.
Yes. It's like you're constantly passing through, so you've been. You're doing it now and you're being.
Yes.
And you continuously grow and you're becoming. This is infinite.
Yes.
This nature is infinite and it's consistently growing in you. So it's always being, like we said, the master and the student, and recognizing that. There's always more room to grow. Always more room to grow. You know? And that's the freedom, not knowing. There was another thing, like a quote that I had saw, and it was like, there's so much freedom in not knowing, because when you don't know, you recognize, wow, like, I can keep growing. Imagine if you actually did master everything. Would life be? What would life be
There's
like?
no bar.
Yeah.
And that is freeing. Yeah.
That's so freeing to me to be like, man, I don't know. And you can smile and be like, wow, I don't know. That's beautiful. I don't know. That's beautiful.
Yeah. It's a safe place to be in.
Yeah, exactly. And also understanding, it's not even like I don't know and you're just kind of like flowing around. That's a whole different thing, guys. That's not what we're saying.
That's very true.
It's not what we're saying. What we're saying is understanding your principles, but also recognizing that there's more principles to learn. There's more principles to grow from. There's more foundations to set for yourself. It's a constant breaking down and building up again stronger. So, constant. It's constant. And I think that's the process that, like, irks. Irks the ego. Because it's like, I thought we were finished. And it's like, no,
oh my gosh,
we're not.
Man, I promise you, because in that, experiencing emotions that, like, you know, I don't want to feel, like anger and, you know, sadness, you grieving this expectation that you had to let go of.
Yes.
But, like, it's also a beautiful thing experiencing that too, that rage, because it comes, and then also experiencing the safety you have within God and Him, knowing that you have to go through this process of feeling and being angry and being able to communicate that, releasing it, to feel this joy that's there with every emotion you feel. Like, that's just always present within. You know?
Exactly. Yes.
Through the suffering, through the gaining, like all that. Yeah.
It's only but through those struggles that you recognize the light. And that's the only reason. That's not even the only reason. Yeah, that's the reason for darkness, essentially. I mean, it's biblical, but it's. I mean, we go into it again. I mean, Matthew. I think it was Matthew 9 verse 13, where it talks
I love
about.
That you know these scriptures. That's
I'm
awesome.
a studier. I am a studier. I am a studier. Like, I don't just. It's one thing. Yeah, it's one thing to just talk spirituality, but it's another thing to be able to relate it to people's experiences. That's how, like, that's how helpful. you connect. That's how you connect people, because not everybody is going to view life how you view life. So if I talk to a Buddhist, knowing the Sanskrits actually helps that person. If I talk to a
That's
Christian, knowing the
true.
Bible will actually help that person.
Yeah.
If I talk to a Muslim, knowing the Quran actually will help that person.
You're right.
Because all of them carry the truth if you know how to interpret and see it from a spiritual point of view rather than a cultural point of view. Because sometimes what ends up happening is separation.
Yeah.
Spirit is unity.
Yeah.
And this is the most divine truth. Spirit is unity. So anything that begins to separate is a more dogmatic version, a more watered down version of the actual truth and living beyond that truth. So it's not me saying that spirituality is better than Christianity or any one of these things.
Right.
Spirituality birthed all of these things. So I mean all of them carry that truth in it.
Yeah.
As long as you recognize universally that what works for that person is what brings them back to God, then you can start your journey back because you recognize, okay, Jesus saved me.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Buddha might have saved that person. If they exemplify the same thing you exemplify in your Christianity, have they actually done anything wrong, or have they actually started their journey back to God in the way they know how?
That's been interesting, talking to people, like, you know, I don't even want to say different beliefs because really they're the same.
Yes.
But it's like with a different understanding and then speaking the same truth, it's like, wow, okay, like we really are the same, you know? Like we really are gaining the same truth from these experiences we go through, whether you were raised as this or that. It's like we really can relate.
Yes.
You can't deny that, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And I think we're taught that separation where it's like, no, this way, period.
It's a dogmatic,
you know?
absolute sort of thing where when in reality it's relative. And all of them carry the truth. All of them carry truths in it, and the most highest truth is God. It's God and love and peace and serenity and joy. And that's the person I am becoming, been, and continuously growing towards, and being able to recognize, like, man, like there is so much more, and that is freeing. Because there was a time where I think spirituality almost put a cap. We're still in Heaven's Dance, y'all.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Still in Heaven's Dance. I know this is like they're
they're
probably like, where did they go?
This is a part of it.
But this is everything that has to do with Heaven's Dance. I promise you. I'll lead it back there.
This is us.
But
seriously.
yes, but there was a point in time where I had put a cap on my spirituality as if things needed to be a certain way, and I didn't recognize that I was actually hurting not just others around me, but my own self.
Yeah.
And that was another overcoming that I had to do. And, you know, it was a good thing, though, because oftentimes it's like when you discover something new and it's like you just keep going up the hill, oftentimes what ends up happening is you get lost in the sauce. You know, that's what we call lost in the sauce, really, where it's like you become dull and you become more dogmatic than you actually think you are. You have to actually take a step back.
I'll never forget, I had a religious phase, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that's all a part of it.
It's all a part of the journey. Yeah, it's all a part of it.
I'm thankful for those times because it sharpened me in areas where I wasn't before, but then I was able to let go and, you know, little curb edges, you know, like.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm not stabbing everybody, you know. Not too sharp.
No, for real. And these conversations are what I feel will heal not just our community as Africans and as Black people of the diaspora, but the entire world. You know, and like I said, one person can't save the world, but if we all come to a certain realization that I am the exemplary of God, said 7 billion people, then we can start to recognize, oh snap, it is us, and this is how we actually fix what has happened to the world, essentially.
Do you think that statement you might have to renege, the not being able to change the world alone? Because I think accepting that responsibility alone, because you might not have the, support from others, from what you believe, just being a light in the midst of darkness, it's like that one light can light up a whole room, and if us alone accept the fact that we have to do it alone, then it's unity. You know what I mean? So what if that really is true?
That's a great question, Keith. That's a really great question. And you know, it's funny because what I see, how I say what I say is that I am as you are as I am, and we are as they are, and they are as we are, and we all are as we are. I guess that statement being the I am that I am. So it's like
Right.
recognizing that even though I'm walking the journey alone, being the light, it doesn't mean that that person that decided to sit in darkness won't eventually reach that light.
Right.
You know, so
create
it's
an
like
opportunity
I
for them,
create,
yeah.
we're just creating that opportunity to recognize, hey, I am not saying that I alone am a hero or like I'm coming to save the world by myself, but I recognize that in my loneliness as I take the journey that I am never alone and that God is always with me, and that as I walk this path, the people that come along my way are the people that are actually also saving the world alongside me. You being a prime example of that. I mean, your business, Firmly Rooted, is literally like that very thing where you're spreading the knowledge of nature and being able to get humanity back in touch with our origin. Because the city life, well, let's be honest, as great as it is sometimes, it's like it is actually a dystopian sort of feeling because we're out of touch with what we actually are as people. And
Such a void.
it creates that void, and it creates that separateness that's devil-like, if we really speak to this. Like,
Seriously.
separateness is not of God.
Right.
Anything that, and that's why I look at religion very carefully. Anything that gives credence to separation is a more egoistical, devil-like thing versus us talking in unity about, because truly all things work in unity. So anything that talks besides that, that's opposite of that, isn't a godly thing.
Yeah.
So,
Very true.
yeah. I forgot where I was going.
No.
Sorry, guys.
I'm sorry. I was stuck on a thought. I think I wanted to ask you now. I forgot.
It's okay. But essentially,
that was good,
essentially this is what Heaven's Dance is. It's recognizing that you have to start the self journey. And to your question, to your point about, hey, maybe we should renege the statement and be like, recognize that we are walking it alone. It's a recognition like, yes, egoistically to somebody else, it looks like I am taking the path alone. But it's another thing altogether to recognize that the spirit in them, although the ego sits in front, the spirit in them is calling them forward.
Absolutely.
As I speak the truth.
Always. Yeah.
It's like this is a never-ending thing, and oftentimes what ends up happening is the ego immediately jump in front and defend the dogmatic, what they've been told, how they've been grown up sort of philosophy. And it's another thing altogether to recognize that, man, even though I speak against that person, they don't stop. What is it? It's the same thing as the story of Christ, where it's like people recognize, like, man, like, there's no, like, turning him back. What is it about that person?
Yeah.
You know? And that's what we all have to exemplify as people. Like, that once you go towards this place of unity, not everyone's going to agree with you.
Right.
That's fine. Because even if they egoically don't agree with you, the spirit that we all are, because we are all from the same origin.
It's an agreement.
The spirit is going to be in agreement with you.
Absolutely.
And at some point, it's going to call that person in their path to do the same thing that you did in a different way for others.
Right. Their journey just looks how it looks, but your actions planted a seed too.
There we go, planting the seed. And that's why I look to my nieces and I look to those kids because I'm planting another seed. And I recognize this is beyond me. This is far bigger than Caleb Brookman. But if I recognize what God has called me for and I use that to express that art, then the spirit is also in agreement.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what anybody says about how I do things, because I recognize that God and I are in alignment and that we walk together.
Yeah.
And if I keep that knowingness, then I guess if we talk religious, then Christ is found, then Buddha is found, Krishna is found, all the philosophies have been found. The I am has been found in you, and you recognize, as Paul said, it's no longer I who lives, but Christ that's who lives within me. So that is it. That is it right there.
This just touched my heart in so many ways. Like,
blessings.
I am so.
Likewise, blessings.
So much gratitude.
I'm likewise, seriously. Being able to express it, it's a resonance thing. So as I give, you're giving it back. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
I'm really thankful. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Yeah.
thank you guys. For all who have been listening, for all who will listen to this,
Yeah,
thank you guys so much. I appreciate everything.
Yeah.
I
Thank
really
yourself
do.
for listening, too. These are words you need. We all need, conversation.
Yes, I was going to say you're here at the right time, and you're listening to exactly what you need to be listening to.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a hug?
Of course. Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, seriously. Likewise.
Thank you.
And I speak so much
Mm-hmm.
abundance and just blessings your way. I know
Thank you so
everything you do is going to be magnificent. You've already proven that.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
I have
I'm
a
here.
lot to overcome shadow-wise, but I feel like that's the unity because I'm not really defeating it, but I'm actually sitting in it, and I recognize, there are things I can grow from. There's lessons there that can be learned. It's understanding there, yeah. And I was actually going to speak to the scripture. I think we kind of got away from it. The Matthew verse 9, verse 13 scripture where they ask Jesus how to pray, and he tells them in, I think, verse 13, towards God, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. It goes to show where the source of both good and evil is actually coming from, and how to actually recognize that God being all things is the source of all things, not the devil. And recognizing that the devil is but a worker of God, and understanding that, hey, if all things are in unity and one and from the same source, then we must recognize that not only is that the beginning of our essence, but it's also a foretelling of who is actually leading us into that temptation and who is actually delivering us from that, if it's within us. If we recognize personally that, wow, it's not something external. It can't be external. Jesus never taught about anything external from himself. And it's something that's so profound in its nature. I'm trying to break it down, but I'm not trying to break it down too much, where it's like we can have like a discussion about it, but it's a very profound statement. He made a lot of very profound statements that have been taken, kind of misinterpreted, that we should really deconstruct and construct again.
Oh, I'm down.
For a more better understanding universally for everyone who is of the Christian faith.
It's crazy how much the understanding expands the more you experience.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that doesn't mean one thing anymore.
No,
it's like this whole new experience.
It's
I
a
can
whole
apply
new
that
thing.
To.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's profound. It's insane.
Thank you. Thank you.
Crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is really crazy. It's like crazy and joyful. It's so many different emotions in one.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's why that's why in trying to understand it all, you go mad, because it's like,
seriously, take your time.
Take your time. You're like 22. Like, calm down. Like,
really think about it.
You have way more life to live.
Yeah.
Way more things to do. So, but thank you for everything. And that's Heaven's Dance, guys.
Yay!
Hey, more love, more joy. More love, more joy. I love you so loud. And I don't know the lyrics. I don't know the rest of the lyrics, but that's it.
I want to sing it with you.
Yeah. So that's it. But that's what Heaven's Dance is about. Everything that we've encompassed in this conversation is essentially kind of intertwined into the Heaven's Dance itself. And it's a correlation of just positive movement and words through as you move through your journey through life. So
emphasis on movement.
Yes, because you can't stop moving. Life is really about the action and being able to move forward. I know a lot of times it's like I struggled with it early on in my spiritual journey, where I was kind of not doing anything, where it was like more meditative, more just kind of like being in nature, and those are great things, but you also still have to do action.
Faith without works is dead.
And so I had to figure out how to integrate my social life again into what I had realized, the great realization, and I had to like realize again, like, okay, you understand. You have the high truth within you, but you also still have to live.
Yes.
And
What
that
is
truth
living?
has to grow.
Right. What
You
does
know.
that look like? Yeah.
That's a great question. Actually, that's a great question. And
It's really verbatim. I mean,
Yes.
not verbatim. It's what's that word?
broad.
No. Where
No,
it's
not
not
broad.
really meant to be answered. It's tell me.
Rhetoric.
no.
Rhetorical.
Yes.
I said rhetoric,
Talking about
y'all.
verbatim.
I said rhetoric, y'all. Like, what is going on here?
No,
Anyway.
same. No,
but it is
yeah.
rhetorical. So
Yeah, it
it's
is.
not just a question for me and Keely, but a question for those listening.
Yeah.
What does that look like to you? Those
We're
who
still
have
learning
realized,
that,
yeah.
Yeah.
How do you integrate spiritual and physical? What does that look like? If you journal it, if you are a doer, if you're a spokesperson, what does that look like for you?
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah. This is part of it for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
This is wonderful. Hey, everybody, we're gonna shout out Keely. Shout out Keely, firmly rooted.
Oh,
This
thanks.
is dope. Like everything she's been doing is amazing.
Oh, thanks.
I'm so thankful for being able to talk about Heaven's Dance on here, and more to come from not just me but from Keely as well. You guys stay tuned. We love all of you.
Love.
Mwah.
Yes.
Mwah.
The question I had was, you mentioned having to put a cap on your spirituality, and I was curious what that looked like what you meant by that. Like, yeah, you can.
So essentially, it was like one of those things where I was growing spiritually, but physically I remained, and it's like you have to encompass both.
Okay.
So I recognize that yes, while I'm spiritually growing physically, I'm not impacting anything, and it's like what is the point of life itself if I'm not going to physically impact and bring about the exemplariness of God?
Okay.
If I just always am like off in the wind in the spirit, it's like, yes, it's beautiful. I've had the self-realization, but you have to spread that now. There's a responsibility that comes with knowing. And honestly, that's why sometimes people don't want to know.
Yeah.
Because you recognize when you do know something, you now have a responsibility
You
that
do.
you carry
You do.
in spreading that. And that was the hardest thing for me,
Yeah.
because I recognized, man, I can't not know ever again, if that makes sense.
Oh,
like,
yeah, once you know it.
once you know it's done,
Yeah.
now it's your responsibility to pass that on to people who actually want to hear it. Not walking around, you don't know. No. It's when people come to you and actually are seeking that. That's the Spirit's way of telling you,
Yeah,
this is what you're meant to do. Now that you know,
that's true.
you have this responsibility, and you can't hide it no more.
Yeah.
Because the moment you hide it, you kind of actually,
It's like
you
a
feel
quenching
irked.
of
You have like
spirit.
a irking, your spirit is irking you, because it's like, why didn't you say it?
Oh my gosh, I've had moments like that, man. And it wasn't even that they were seeking it from me specifically. They didn't even know to do that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but like I've had moments on the bus, I'm hearing people have these conversations and there's something for me to give. And I'm having this debate in my mind about whether I should give it to them or not. And it's like, now being out of those moments, it's like, why wouldn't you? You know?
'Cause
Like,
you're planting the
freely
seed.
give it. Right, exactly. And when I left that moment, those moments, it's like this pain within my heart. Because it's like, that's the confirmation afterwards that
Yeah.
I missed my mark. Like, I missed the beat. And
Yes.
they continue on without the answer. And it's, I know God loves them more than I love them, you know? So they'll have an answer
Yeah.
some way. But it just sucks because that's training ground as well for me. And it's like, dang, like, you didn't follow through, you know? And it sucks learning the hard way, but I still learned. And now, you know, I try and take the opportunity and just giving what I have to give continuously, but that does hurt. It does suck.
It's one of those things where fear comes into play, where it's like the ego, fear and anxiety, I want to say, come into play, because it's like you're afraid of how that person is going to react to you. But the thing is, that person does not know what you might know.
That's true.
And that's the thing that I was speaking about earlier, that the greatest fool, who at least knows he's a fool, will be wiser than those who think that they've reached the end of their knowledge. You must spread that and continue to grow, because even if they don't know, what you've done is plant the seed for them to begin to grow that knowledge in themselves. Because even if their ego might be very defensive, and it will happen, it will happen.
That's true.
It will happen. But what you must understand is that you, as the spirit, are speaking from a place that is the exhibitor, that is the origin of the ego personality. So when you recognize that, you must stand firm in the truth.
Right, in what you know.
In what you know. Because what ends up happening is that you start to diminish your spirit the moment you think that you have to fit in.
Right. That's so true. And you know the trippy part? There is a guaranteed peace after you enter that unknown.
Yes.
Even if they're defensive, or even if something
It's okay.
great comes from it. It's like, you did it. You feel good
You
regardless.
feel good. You let
It's
it.
like,
You
okay.
let it go.
Yeah.
And no, we are
exactly.
not talking about, oh, you got to be like this, or the dogmatic thing. No. No. What we are talking about is essentially just spreading truth
Yes.
in the most peaceful way possible.
Yes.
Peace subdues all.
Yeah.
Subdues violence, subdues anger, subdues jealousy. As long as you live in peace and speak the truth, no matter how it was received, it was still given to that person in the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And no matter how they receive it and then interpret it and bring it back out, the spirit will accept it.
Yeah. This makes me think of something my friend Tori said. Shout out to Tori.
Shout out Tori.
She's
I
a
don't know
great
Tori, but
artist,
shout out
too.
Tori.
Yeah. But she had said something. She was like, I might word it wrong, but the gist of it was basically that she would never want to allow someone to be delusional. Like, her job basically is to give them the truth, whether they want to receive it or not. Like, that is her duty. Like, she doesn't want to allow someone to remain in this delusional mindset or belief, you know.
I agree.
But yeah, that made me think about that, because it's like, that's love, you know,
That is
being
love.
honest with someone. Like, it's not about whether they want it or not, because the truth hurts, you know,
It does.
regardless. But it's like,
It's going to hit you.
don't allow someone to sit in the unknown, you know, and like, or actually, let me word that differently, because we've been putting the light on the unknown.
On the unknown.
But like, I guess ignorance, let's just say that.
Yeah. Ignorance of, I guess, darkness of not knowing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
that part, yeah. Especially when you know,
Mhm.
and it's a help to them. It's like, why not give that to them, you know? That's love.
It is love. No matter how they respond to it, let them.
Yeah.
Because remember, we got to remember, at one point, you were that person.
And it's a mirror.
You are
It's
just
an
a mirror.
opportunity for them to even see themselves and how they
Exactly.
respond. If they don't respond, what can they see, you know?
Yes.
Like, there's no opportunity for them to see themselves.
Yes.
And that's the beauty in it.
And that's what I came to realize. The mirror state of, it's levels. There really is levels. The mirror state of life is,
Man.
I guess, the greatest, I want to call ego death of all, because it has you recognize how that person responded to me was just a mirror of how I've responded to others before. Oftentimes
That's a
God
way to
will
see
give
it.
you, a reflection of yourself. You got to really, instead of egoically responding back, what you have to do sometimes is take a deep breath and realize, oh,
Wow.
that was
That's
me.
crazy. No, that's...
You like, oh, that was me. Wait a second.
crazy.
Like, wait a second.
You know what I thought you were going to say? Which is probably more of the ego mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That when it's a mirror effect, it's like, that has nothing to do with you. Which is true. But it's like, yeah, that had nothing to do with me. That's just them reflecting, themselves. But the part that's true, which also hurts, is that that was you.
That was me.
And you have to see that.
Yeah.
You have to be able to see that.
Yeah. And be able to know how to peacefully move with that. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is like, you end up falling again because you're like, dang, I
Right.
thought I was growing. And it's
Right.
like, no, you still are. You still are. Calm down. Calm down.
Relax.
Relax. You still are. But there's certain parts of yourself that linger here and there.
Yeah.
That the spirit is showing you, hey, heal.
There's
Heal
still
from
more
this.
work to be
Still
done.
more work. You got more work to do.
And that's good.
It's a great
It's great
thing.
when you get
It's
that
a great
realization, because it's like, okay, let's become better.
Yeah.
But it's just a process. In the midst
Yeah.
of that, it's like, you got to feel those emotions.
Exactly.
And healthily express them.
Exactly.
Because they're going to come. But,
Exactly.
you know.
So essentially, way back to your question again, in terms of that spiritual cap, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Essentially, it was me recognizing I have to incorporate my physicality to be able to imprint God back into what seems to be a move towards complete destruction in this society.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's great.
And yes, there are moments where, I won't lie, be 100% truthful, there's moments where fear hits, anxiety hits, because as you grow, the thing about what we talked about in terms of the source of good and evil, left and right, as you grow in knowledge in terms of the middle path, so too does the other side.
Exactly.
And that's,
Trying to hinder that growth.
yes, so too does that other side,
Yeah.
that shadow self, we like to call it, I guess, in spiritual terms. But
Yeah.
knowing that when you walk the middle path and you're climbing back towards the infinite, the divine, you must understand the darkness that also lives in that realm. I'm trying to say it in a way where it's relatable to everybody,
I get it.
but lives in that, I guess, plane of consciousness. There we go.
Great way
There
to
we
put
go.
that. Yeah.
Because yes, as you grow in the light, so too does the darkness grow, and you must be a master of both.
Yeah.
And sit in the middle always.
You'll be equipped to handle it.
And we are already equipped. We have it. It's just that. I guess that's what I'm expressing, that as I grow and as I know that I have a mission that's beyond the church buildings, the temple buildings, it's beyond just religious cultural beliefs. And knowing that I have that responsibility sometimes does invoke a tad bit of fear, because it's like, oh man, like, and even when life is going completely to garbage, it's like you still have to.
Oh yeah.
And it's like
Even
whoa,
more.
yeah, and it's like whoa, like,
Yeah.
am I sure I'm going? You start like looking, like,
And
God, are we
unknown,
sure we're
yeah.
going? Like, you start looking, are we sure we're going the right way?
Yeah, but you know
Like,
the beauty though, as you've been walking, like you can look at the evidence of
knowing
this
that you're in the
is
right path.
right, exactly.
Yes, you're right. You're right. You're
So-
absolutely right. Have you had any? I guess now I'm the interviewer.
okay.
Have you had any like experience like that where like as you keep growing you recognize like whoa, like,
Oh yeah,
and
just
there's
looking at
moments
the
in your
old
life you're
version.
like, yo, like,
Just looking at the old version of myself,
Mhm.
like the way I am now, the way I was, never would I have thought I'd be standing right here in the condition, spiritually, mentally, physically, that I am now. My hair even, like, never.
hair's popping.
Thank you. Thanks. But literally, like, it's seen outwardly because of the inner work. And if it wasn't for the inner work, like, if it wasn't for me going through the suffering that I have so far, I wouldn't be able to look back on anything. Like, I can't tell you where I would be. I just know this version of myself and the goodness that I've been able to look upon, I wouldn't have experienced it. So just being able to know that and looking at the transformation, like, physically, like when I look in the mirror, like it's just different. It's like that's fruit that I can still bask in and enjoy constantly. Like that's something that I can look back on, like just my old self, like in the ways I've changed today. And I know it's going to keep happening. Like it's just that's an experience I can speak on right off the bat.
Likewise, man, because was I a hothead will be the greatest term to put it, because I guarantee you, if we were to even bring, like, if our 15-year-old selves, 16-year-old selves were to even...
15 is...
She said I hit a nerve.
Like, that's
I
an
hit
old
a
version
nerve.
of myself that she's... Okay, anyways, keep going.
Anyways, yeah. If we were to bring that version and they look at us today,
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know,
She
I would be so
smiling.
proud. I would be
Yeah.
so proud of me. Like,
Seriously.
whoa, like, especially the music.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
be
was
like, you don't do this anymore. You know. Oh.
like,
And
oh.
you faced that. Like,
Yeah.
You faced this pain. That's.
I know younger me would be like,
Lingering.
you did what? Younger
We
me would be
don't
like,
talk
you
about
did
that.
what? But yeah, it goes to show like that growth, man, and
Seriously.
more power to us as we continue to
Yeah.
grow, you know. So
Did I answer that correctly?
you absolutely did answer that correctly, where it's like you're looking back at yourself and you're like, wow.
Yeah. Seriously, I'm always wowed. I just be like, whoa. Like, even my relationships, you know, like,
Mhm.
there's evidence all around me. And that helps me just know that, like, wherever I'm headed, it's worth it. It's unknown. It can be scary. It's
Mhm.
very intimidating. And in vulnerability and, like, just allowing God to have control, there's just so many emotions that can come from that. But I already know, like, my faith is increased because of the faith that I've grown from, you know? Like, the experiences I've had and, like, the goodness that's come from my obedience to Spirit, like, it's just helped me to know it's worth obeying more and more, you know? Though it may be scary and challenging.
Mhm.
Like, it's just too worth it. Because when I disobeyed, the evidence of that was very clear. And it's like, that's so not worth it. Though
So-
in the moment it might
Mhm.
seem worth it, like, you know, just temporary satisfaction, whatever,
Yeah.
like, just burning desires. It's like, no, that's when it goes to scripture, like, resist the enemy, the temptations of my flesh that want to make me go back to the old way. It's like, resist that and it will flee, and it does.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like, as I see that, that's what increases my faith, and it's like, okay, I can do this. I see what I'm capable of. I'm stronger than I think I am. Like, all that has been proven enough for me to be like, okay, all the word is true, like, all of it. So I'm gonna just keep on going and see that, you know.
You
prove
see
it.
how you've internalized and actually have experienced,
Yeah.
and I guess that's the greatest realization, one of the highest truths that I can, I guess, bring forth to people, that you are the living word.
Yes.
The words are
Yes.
there, but the person reading it
Yeah.
is what it's about.
Yeah.
You have to live it. You have to be the living word of that word. And
I-
that
does
becomes
that
the
answer
gospel.
what it looks like to live?
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes. That's
Oh
that's
my God.
we answered
We
it.
did it again.
Sorry, guys. But that's what it is, being the living word of what you are reading
Yeah.
towards, I guess, the path back to God.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start to realize, whoa, all of it is internal.
Yeah.
Every single battle, every single overcoming, every single temptation, not only is it exuding from you, but you're also the one resisting yourself
Exactly.
to bring forth
Yeah.
yourself.
Exactly.
You know, and it's a profound thing where you recognize the unity of yourself,
Yeah.
meaning the spirit that you are.
Yes.
Beyond the name Keely, beyond the name Caleb,
Yeah.
recognizing that we, as spirit, have to bring forth where we came from,
Yeah.
and our origin.
And I love this. I love this because literally, side note, God has literally assigned me with the duty of creating a movie, and it's about that.
Uh-oh.
It's about that.
Uh-oh.
And it's dumb. Like, I don't even know where to start. I do. I've been writing a little bit, but I know I'm creative. I mean, I'm surrounded by creative people who are in film and, you know, all that.
Uh-oh.
But it's like,
Hold on.
that responsibility, talk about fear. Like,
Directed by
what?
Keely? Yo. Yo.
It's gonna
We
be
are just at the
crazy.
beginning of everything. Yo.
I didn't expect to, like, put that out there, but I couldn't hold that in. It resonates too much. So, yeah, that part.
We are always where we need to be.
You're right.
Hearing
Yeah.
what we need to hear.
Yeah.
Directed
Yeah.
by Keely?
Hey,
Hey, y'all.
who would have knew? I
Hey,
definitely,
y'all.
15-year-old me, please. A movie?
Hey,
What?
y'all. Movies? I'm going to all movies directed by Keely. I promise you that. That's
Yeah.
a fact. Because I already know
Yeah.
you're gonna imbue the most divine messages.
Oh, thank you.
Like, so
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yes,
And
I'm
I am
nice.
your supporter. And we are her supporters. Ain't that right, y'all? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate
We got you.
that.
We
Yeah.
got you. Yes. Directed
I
by
got you
Keely,
too.
coming
Yeah.
soon. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
coming when it's coming. I don't know. The process, it's a crazy
Oh
concept
yeah, the
and
film.
movie.
Yeah.
I'm just taking my time, so. Yeah.
Look, whenever you're ready, we're ready. Okay?
Okay.
We gonna be ready,
Yeah.
and I got you. Spirit is with you always. I'm
Yes.
with you always, for real.
Likewise. Yeah.
Blessings, blessings.
Yes. Unto
But
you
yeah.
as well.
I guess that wraps it, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. Well, check out his album, Heaven's Dance.
Out everywhere.
Every song is so dope. He has more to come. Don't play with him. Don't play with him. Don't play with him.
She said it. I ain't have to. You already know. Heaven's Dance everywhere, y'all.
Yeah.
More to come soon.
Mm-hmm.
Love and blessings and
Yes.
peace. Atep to all. I love you.
Yes. And we're out.